ordinary magnificence of God, perfection and light. Love is calling to you. Love is calling you to returning to the awareness of love, returning to the peace and the harmony of all that is. And in that return, the shedding away, the dropping away of all concepts of a self, all concepts that affirm the life of separation. The willingness to surrender self-concept is the journey of beauty and grace and blessings. Gratefully surrendering each day, each segment of what seems like time into love's hands, and the willingness to transform and transmute the veil that has been built out of an erroneous identity, the sleep state that has been so convincingly self-centered with the small s, and all the while believing that God was somewhere else or non-existent. A great fear has been attached to the presence of God. A projection has been made that has produced the fear of God. The fear of God. Afraid of melting. Afraid of disappearing. But it's really a returning. The only thing that disappears are the lies of separation. Everything that is real, everything that is true, never dies, cannot be altered, can't be changed. It lives because it is. The ego melts away because it isn't. And in the recognition of light, it can't survive. The medicine of love receive it with joy. Receive the divine medicine of truth. of light, of peace and harmony. Receive. You're welcome home. As you begin to recognize that to be identified in separation is to wander in a desert, trying to find something to get, and yet never finding it, because it doesn't exist in the desert. As you open your heart and refuse to be defended from anything, because there's nothing to defend. Love emerges from its cocoon of sleep, breaking through the veil and letting its wings unfurl. The freedom of love. And surrendering the perception of a separate life, a separate cause, a separate identity. All of it surrendered, returning to the heart. And then realizing when you do return to the heart, which is inevitable, oh, the surprise. Nothing ever happened. Nothing was ever separate. To carry a fantasy, a mirage, to be asleep and have dreams of separation doesn't make them real. It just makes them somewhat convincing, because you have no awareness of the ancient memory of love that continues to call to you, to whisper to you, to beckon to you. Surrendering. Such an easy word, and yet the birthing of your willingness to trust in the light of God, to trust in the wisdom that is the universe, that is the all of creation, to trust in that magnificent wisdom is a leap of faith. Open to the grace, to the light, and to the ease that is promised by all masters. Open. And as you open to the love and the light, the false identity drops away, no longer interesting, no longer seductive, no longer believed in as a game of proving you're right, of proving your worth, of proving anything. Resting in love, resting in God, allowing and accepting that you will get into the sidecar and let God drive. And love will supply the map. Love will show the way. The wisdom of love knows no barriers. The wisdom of love has no limitations. And yet, ordinary because it's all inclusive. No hierarchy, no specialness, no battle. The abundance of love, always offering, always pouring, always providing. In this moment, the willingness to breathe and allow love to have its way with you. In this moment, as you breathe deeply and fully, the willingness to rest all of the energy bodies. Nothing to fight for, nothing to protect. And in this moment, the willingness to open the heart, let the heart come forward, offering love, and at least having the willingness to offer that love. Opening and letting the confines of the belief of separation melt away. A willingness to surrender the body identity into the hands of God. The nervous system, the energy bodies, blood supply, all of it. Everything that has been held as separate and used as a battleground of fear, released, surrendered. The willingness to have the body used by love, to express love, demonstrate love, offer love, with gentleness, in peace and harmony. And let the heart say yes. I will follow. Show me the way. Where you lead me, I will go. Letting Spirit lead. Letting love lead. happiness and joy, bursting through the perceived barriers of the past, and yet in stillness, the inner stillness of peace, the inner stillness of trusting that all will be revealed in perfect harmony time sequence. Never any loss and nothing to gain. Everything already here. And whether in this moment you're aware or not, doesn't change the truth that everything of love is here. But the more stillness within, the more you can hear that voice of love, that calling of love, that whispering of love. As you silence the mind, you hear God speak. All perfect, all love, all light. And in this moment, accepting and inviting that here in the infinite circle of love we are one. And in this circle is all of humanity, all creation, in oneness. Nothing of this truth has ever changed. And in that recognition of oneness, the individuals, what seem to be different circumstances and different situations and different forms, the meaning of it all falls away and light emerges. And love is restored in its natural perfection. Receive your welcome home. Receive the awareness of your true nature. One with all of creation. Perfect, in complete harmony. And affirming the universe is all love. And this sanctuary is filled with love. Nothing else exists. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within this life force, we live and move and breathe as one. Exquisite natural rhythm, vibration of love. Open and remember. Open in the heart's yes, and the veil of forgetting disappears. Open and accept. Allow these prayers to vibrate into your heart. Allow the prayer of love to permeate through whatever resistance was there a moment ago. Allow a vibration of love to heal all doubts, all fears, all resistance. I put myself in the hands of God, only love is real. Divine grace, divine love, divine breath, divine truth, only love is real. I've put myself in the heart of God, only love is real. Divine breath, divine heart, divine truth, divine grace, only love is real. I've put myself in the hands of God, only love is real. Divine love, divine strength, divine truth, divine breath, only love is real. To accept that only love is real is the simplicity of remembering. But it's the discovery of the truth of love and what it is not that shines into your awareness as you let go, as you embrace your welcome home. I saw a great radiance. I saw a fountain of knowledge. I drank of her water, and she gave me the strength to carry on. In this river of God, I've put myself to navigate. I took her boat, and I encountered the Holy Grail, the truth of love. I heard her voice, and her song said to me, whoever drinks from this chalice has a path to uncover. I heard her voice, I heard her song. Whoever drinks of this chalice has a secret to open. Praise in the heights the glory of God, to remember the one who offers this power. They are holy, blessed offerings of love and grace. Receive and be healed. Eu vi grande claral, vi a fonte do saber. Eu bebi da sua água, me deu a força para vencer. Nesse rio de Deus, eu me pus a navegar. Eu tomei a sua barca a grau, segredo foi encontrar. Ouvi a sua voz, o seu canto eu me dizer. Quem bebe nesse cálice tem caminho percorrer. Ouvi a sua voz, eu ouvi o seu cantar. Quem bebe desse cálice tem segredo do desvendar. Hosana nas alturas é quem deu esse poder. São santas palavras, benditos em natureza esse poder. I saw a great radiance. Every beloved is called to this great radiance. Every beloved is called to the fountain of knowledge to receive the divine truth of love itself and to let go of all knowing that is all attached to the past. opening the doorways of love, and trusting that as you enter into these doorways of love, all light, all blessings, all grace will enter into your awareness. Allow yourself to be put to navigate, and allow the navigation of the boat as you follow in your life, daily, moment to moment, letting God lead. And as you're in that boat of love, trusting the journey itself, and then coming to realize that the journey was just part of the illusion, but a helpful journey, a necessary journey, a temporary journey of using the temporary state of illusion for its only valuable purpose, to remember and come home, as the heart says yes. Can any beauty match this? When the sun within speaks, when love reaches out its hand and places it upon another, any power the stars and planets might have upon us, any fears you can muster can become so rightfully insignificant and then disappear. What one heart can do for another heart in the belief of separation, is there any beauty in the world that can match this? Brotherhood, sisterhood, humanity becomes the joy and the emancipation. The realization of love being in its perfection is recognized. And the other of what used to seem like another becomes just the light of God, the perfection of creation. How perfect, how beautiful, how innocent. When the sun within speaks, there is a sun within you. There is a sun within you. When you see the sun and see it in the sky, you have forgotten that the sun is within you. You see it as a separate entity, a separate being possibly, but not that the sun would be within you, but the sun is within you. And when the sun within speaks, in its clarity, in its love, in its radiance, in its light, nothing is left except to accept that love and to revel in that love. When love reaches out its hand and its heart and places it on another, the perception that there is another disappears. That's a moment of glory, a moment of complete melting away of all that you thought was separate. This is the union, the infinite union of love that is here now, in this infinite circle of love. To recognize it, to accept it, to live in it, brings heaven into your awareness. And when the sun within speaks and one love reaches out, the power that you gave to the stars and planets and any fears you could muster become rightfully insignificant, because everything is then realized is already within. Everything is within. Everything is the light of God, and it is within. The idea that you see others as separate and give them different identities is just a made-up state that affirms that you are separate from God, that you have a life to live of separation, and that the body becomes that symbol, just as the stars and the planets become symbolic of differences rather than one with all creation. Opening the heart is the way to love. Opening the heart and refusing to accept the protection and defense of the past. No longer willing to look through caution. No longer willing to look through knowing of any kind, but coming home to love. What one heart can do for another heart. Is there any beauty in the world that can match this? No. When you love, when you offer love, even if it's just for a second, when you open your heart and you love, the world as you know it disappears. And nothing can match this as your willingness to open your heart and offer your heart to what seems to be another. This is the power of divine healing that you carry within you in your willingness to offer love. There's so much said in the world, and especially in the spiritual life, that talks about being a healer. It's very simple. Everyone is a healer because everyone carries that same power to offer love. It is through your own healing, through your own willingness to offer love, that you can serve love. To hold no one as different, as wrong, as bad or good, or more or less. To have all judgments about everyone surrendered and let go is how you offer love. It is your great offering. It is the purpose of your journey. So many beloveds wrestle with being purposeful. So many beloveds wrestle with offering something. I have nothing to offer. I have no talents. I have no special gift. All of these are mistaken conclusions. There is only one gift. It is the offering of love. It is the bringing of peace and harmony to every beloved. It is the willingness to open the heart and rest with another, and completely forgetting about anyone's behavior, circumstance, no longer being willing to be at the effect of meaningless evidence from the past, the willingness to love, the willingness to accept that no one can be hurt and no one has been changed, and to forgive all stories, all past experiences of the belief of being separate, and to accept your welcome home, accepting the Divine Mother and Father into your heart, reuniting with your beloved family of humanity in one heart. The true homecoming, the true family reunion. All of the beliefs of searching and begging and grappling with and fearful of family is because this identity of being in a body, this identity of being identified with other beloveds as different and being given roles and identities through the name of family, it's all been a ruse for you not to recognize the truth of family. The truth of family, of this holy union of love, that as you open your heart, all differences fall away, and the holy union, the infinite circle of love, opens. Why is it a circle? Because it's unending. It's a circle because it has no beginning and no end. There's never been a time when you were not the light of God. And there will never be a time when you are not the light of God. Infinite, eternal, coming home to God, the Divine Mother and Father. Every yearning that you've ever had in your life disappearing and filled with the nourishment of divine order, harmony, peace, and joy. Like walking out of a closet that's been dark and damp and filled with lack into the light of love, and resting, completely resting in the perfection. The perfection, the absence of fear, the absence of hatred. Fear and hatred, exactly the same. No distinguishing characteristics, all the same. Letting it all go. When one heart, what one heart can offer to another, is there any beauty in the world that can match this? Absolutely not, because it's the only truth. Everything else is just a distraction. The ego wants you to believe in problems. It is its creed. always have a problem available, always ready to have a problem. And if things become too peaceful, the ego stirs up the energy bodies to produce a problem, for you to be looking for one. And when you're looking for a problem, you will find it. No doubt. You will find it because the habit is still available. But it's time to let it all go. It is time to recognize there is only one problem. Let me recognize the problem. With every situation, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it doesn't matter what it entails, it doesn't matter what the situation. With everything that is seen as a problem, there is only one truth there, which is that you believe you are separate from God. And the ego has the ability to produce tens of thousands of different aspects of the same belief, of the same problem. It will shape, change, and make different situations so you think that they're all new and fresh and different. But they all come from the same place. They come from the belief that you think you are separate. And since the truth is you are not separate, there really is no problem, ever. That is this divine place of resting, of trusting deeper and deeper and deeper that it is not your mind, it is not your attention to a problem that will rectify the problem. The problem is that you believe that there is a problem. That's the problem. And there is no problem. This is a place of deep trust, a deep leap of faith that takes you so fully into the banishment of the past. The refusal to accept that any of this actually occurred. That from the moment that you incarnated into a body, you built a system of problems. You built your evidence factory. You built your story. Day by day, year by year, situation by situation, you added and added and added evidence to prove that you were right, that there was a problem. The problem you believed was that you were cursed. The problem you believed was that you were deficient. The problem you believed was that you were unloved. The problem that you believed was that you were ready and moving toward dying, and that every moment was a threat to dying. Death always showed itself through the body, through the identity that you thought you were separate and that you were this temporary form. All of these elements of evidence, let them all go. There is no problem. There is no death. There is no struggle. All the evidence that you have believed in has to be let go. And the way of that is to accept that there is no problem. Because in that acceptance, there is nothing to know. All of your knowing from the past has nothing to attach to when you don't believe that there's a problem. Because knowing is only connected with the belief that there are problems. The problem from day to day of living, protecting, defending, proving. These are all identified as problems. They don't present themselves that way to you. That would be too simple. You would see through it too easily. So it shows itself as different situations, different ways of seeing a problem, different concerns, and a great deal of the percentage of those seeming problems are made to believe that they are actually legitimate concerns, that it's love. It's even attached to the idea that it's love to be concerned, to worry about someone, to have situations where you believe you should be the chief worrier, chief in charge of worry. This is all just a fabrication. There is no worry in love. But to trust is to let go of worry, because then what you're opening to is that love is leading you, and the acceptance that you are not this form, that you are not this identity that has been attached to the form. To open to the divine spirit that is waiting to be discovered. Everyone has heard the term to be dispirited. To be dispirited is to be disconnected from the truth of who you are. It's to reject your divine spirit and accept that you are a body and that there is death and that there was a beginning and that there will be an end. None of that is true. Can you really harm your divine spirit? No. Not at all. But you can experience yourself as dispirited because you're not connected with it. Because you're in worry. Because you're in the belief that there are problems. And all problems identify with the body. All pain identifies with the body. It's not about hatred of the body. It's just a deep, deep recognition and a willingness to be taken and shown the truth. I am not a body. I am free. I'm still as God created me. When I first embraced that teaching, it was a complete mystery. It was not even, they were just words. They were just words that had no relevance. I accepted them because God offered them. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. The acceptance of that truth pulled me into awareness. An awareness where I was taken into the truth, where the body disappeared the identity with the body disappeared. And in that moment, the body disappeared. It returned, but it never returned convincingly. It never returned in its identity of the past. It transformed into a vehicle of love that housed the spirit temporarily, that housed the love temporarily, to serve love. The body can bring neither peace nor turmoil. It can't bring pain or joy. It is a means and not an end. It has nothing of itself to give. Nothing. It is a means, not an end. The means that it is to offer love, to express love, to offer comfort, to offer blessings through the body, because that is the vehicle in this moment that is recognized as inhabiting this space, this time. But every teaching of every master, and of course including Jesus, the beloved known as Jesus when he walked the earth, that teaching was, look, you can do whatever you want to this body, to the totality of what is called death in this third dimension. You will watch the body disintegrate, return to dust. You will see the body put into a cave or burned. And yet, that divine spirit that inhabited that body is the life, and it continues. It cannot die. When I began the conscious spiritual journey, I was with a beloved who was passing. And this was like being thrown into the middle of the ocean. And I watched, through divine grace, I watched Jesus step out of a picture and come to take this beloved, his spirit, and his body remained, and he passed out of the body and left the earth plane. That awareness, that gift, I wasn't completely ready for at the time. I could only receive a little bit of the teaching that was offered in that moment, but it stayed with me, and it kept teaching me, and it kept showing me, and it kept leading me that there was no death. And when I received the teaching, I am not a body, I am free, I'm still as God created me, that teaching, that original teaching from 8-10 years before was totally connected to this teaching, and totally was part of the same teaching, wrapping itself around me to have this exquisite healing that this body is not what you think it is. It is a symbol. It is a symbol that keeps reminding you that you're separate. And the body has to be surrendered into the hands of God for it to be used for its only temporary purpose, which is to offer love, to offer peace, to offer harmony, to offer comfort of truth. Not comfort of pity, not comfort of worry, because that is not true comfort. The true comfort is you are the light of God, and you have done nothing to change that. It may not be words that you say to everyone, because not everyone is in that preparation place to hear those words, but your heart has to sing that. Your heart has to hold that in order for the heart to heal. And to remember that the body can bring you neither joy nor pain. It cannot bring you turmoil. It cannot bring you peace. It's not capable. It's just a temporary vehicle. But it has nothing of itself to give. But love can radiate through it. Love can penetrate past the body, because the energy of love is the power. The energy of love, the light of love is the power. I put myself in the hands of God. Only love is real. And let yourself all day long be singing divine grace, divine light, divine truth. Only love is real. And the willingness to rest there, live there, accept that love. This is a day of God. I will do nothing and think nothing on my own today. That is the exquisite choice that comes with trust, that comes with the willingness to surrender. Today is a day of God. I will not think or do anything on my own today. Because there is no on my own. There is no mine. That all the words of the ego, it repeats again and again and again. My life, my knowing, my ownership, mine, mine, mine. Mine, 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 mine. Favorite word, mine. And in the spiritual journey, it can seem as if the relinquishment of mine is a sacrifice, because you've worked for lifetimes to hoard and protect and defend what you think you needed to own, to have for yourself. And here in the spiritual journey, it's all upside down, it's all right side up. That there's nothing to own. There's nothing to protect. There's nothing to defend. There's nothing to prove, so there's nothing to defend. The demonstration of the one known as Jesus, of embracing the hatred that was stirred up in a frenzy of fear, hate and fear being the same, had no effect. Had no effect because it wasn't real. It didn't exist. And in the truth of love, that was recognized. That was the purpose. It had a purpose. And the beloved that was known as Mary Magdalene, and many beloveds, were at the foot of the cross, holding in awareness that there was no loss, and that this was the offering. I cannot die. There is no loss. There is no wrongdoing. No wrongdoing. No other that was to be condemned for their actions. When it says Jesus died for our sins, he left the body to prove that there was no sin, that no one had done anything, that no one could do anything, that a dream can't do anything, that a nightmare can't do anything. It has no effect on the truth of love. That is the glory of that offering. To show that there was no death, and to intrinsically use the third dimension and its contrast to eternal light by returning without a body and still being able to be seen as the Spirit of God. To still be able to be in divine communion, to still be able to teach, to still be able to offer love, to still be that love, that nothing had changed, that love was not in any way diminished, and there was no wrongdoing. No one sinned. No one left the heart of God. A mistake occurred. A mistake of awareness. That's all. An error in awareness. Nothing else. So the calling to forgive the perception of sins from the past, the perception of wrongdoing, had to be shown in its ultimate fear, had to be shown as the worst possible nightmare you think you could have. Being tortured, being driven and killed. The worst possible nightmare. Disintegrated as meaning nothing, as having any actuality to it. And to completely dismantle the perceptions of what the eye thinks it sees and what the ears thinks that it hears, and what the mind thinks that it knows in what it sees, and to recognize, I don't know anything, because what I see is not real. It isn't true. It's a projection of my belief that I am separate. If I am believing in anything that is not peace and harmony and joy, it's completely fabricated. All held in the belief that you are separate from God and that there is a separate you. You are separate from God. That has no truth. There is no you that is separate from anything. How can this be healed? This, you cannot heal yourself. You cannot heal this yourself. It is a place of surrender. It is a place of forgiveness. It is a place of acceptance. It is a place of disowning all the perceptions that you've carried of what you think you know, and coming empty onto God, devoid. But in that surrender, you are surrendering into the power of God, the power of transformation, the power of the universe that can heal anything and everything so easily, but it has to be offered. If you're holding on to something through your knowing, love can't help you. Love can't intervene into what you want. You have free will. When you say, I know, you're saying no. No to love. It's not a conscious decision all the time because you're in a state of sleep, but that's part of the waking up, is the recognition that the I know is not your friend, that it's been used as a complete defense system. The beloveds that were the actors in the play with Jesus thought they knew. They were sure they knew. They were right. They found the enemy. And one by one, they carried the story to each other and ignited the fear, ignited the doubt in each other by wanting to stay in the belief that they were separate. It still didn't change the truth of who they were, but they were in misery, because hatred is misery, fear is misery. It's so accepted in the world, and the evidence proves it all. And this is why it's a calling to let go of the evidence of what you think you know, and to not believe your eyes, not to believe what you hear, not to believe your evidence of circumstance, of sequences, all of it, to truly be surrendered, to truly be willing to be transformed. And in that, yes, transformation is yours. Nothing stands in the way of transformation except the I know. And that's only held out of the fear of love. And it is a fear of love, a fear of disintegrating, a fear of losing control. But the joke is there's nothing to control. Absolutely nothing to control. everything will be shown to you in perfect harmony, in perfect movement, always. There isn't anything in love, in God, that wants you to suffer. Nothing. God's will for you is joy and peace, happiness. It's God's will for you. And it's just opening the willingness more and more. And when you think you can't open anymore, you open more. Every time the yes, and you feel like you can't expand more, you just say yes again. And let the divine expand your awareness as you drop away and release and all the resistance, all the perception that there's anything to resist of love, because there's nothing to resist. There's nothing to fear. The ego has thousands of ways to convince that you're in danger. But there's nothing dangerous of love. And there's nothing to protect. And all the protection has been about the body. That's all. When everything that you really want is peace. Everything that you really want is peace. You can name it, call it whatever you want to. It's peace that you truly want. You want to rest. You want to sink and rest in love. And that is who you are. You will hear Spirit. You will hear Spirit speaking to you in the language of your heart. That's where the communion is. And as you let go of what you think you know, you open this space to let love lead you, to commune and fill the mind with harmony and joy. Giving the mind back to God, where it truly belongs. And opening the heart. Opening the heart and resting. Nothing to defend, nothing to protect ever again. And the recognition that there is a divine mother and father. Does it resemble what's been made in the roles of mother and father here in this third dimension? No. But the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the truth of God, it is your family. It is the divine family. And only calling you to return to where you've always been. It's not that you've been gone. It's that you're just not aware that you're there. So it's letting go of the eyes that were made by the ego, letting go of the ears that were made by the ego, and wanting only expressions of love to be used by sound, to only use these hands to embrace and bless, to only use the feet to serve love, and to let love keep radiating through the symbol of separation, to open to all the energies of love, to cleanse and to have cleansed by the grace of God all of the energy bodies, all completely of love, all completely perfect. Returned to love, returned to the natural state that you truly exist in, where there are no problems. There is no problem. Let me remember and see. Let me recognize the problem so that it can be solved. The problem is I believe I'm separate. When you believe you're separate from God, everything shows itself as a problem. But that is really the only problem, is that you believe you're separate from God and you're not. So there really is no problem. No problem. You can't be wrong and you can't be right. That's where freedom is. No attachment to doing something right or doing something wrong, because love is directing. Love is leading, and you are following. And you just allow that love to take you. Don't be afraid of praying deeply in your heart, I surrender everything I made up. I surrender everything I made up. I don't even know what it all is, but I surrender it all. And only the love will remain. I surrender everything I made up. I don't even know what it is, but I'm willing. Take it all. Surrender it all. And let this world be used for its only temporary purpose, which is to learn to love, to learn how to walk in holiness and return home, to learn how to use time for its only purpose, which is to remember love. To not want to waste time anymore with resistance and distractions. That is your choice. And your powerful, powerful prayer is what opens the door to transformation. There was a beloved who used to say to me, "You must have an awfully powerful prayer." And it was true. It was absolutely true. Heal everything that I made up. Everything that is not the truth of love. I don't want it anymore. And so it is. Because the power of your choice is the power of transformation. It allows the transformation that is through the power of God, through the power of the universe, to dispel, to disintegrate, to eliminate all made up elements of separation. They're only in your mind. There's nothing out there. It's all just a story in your mind. And just like waking up from a nightmare that you had in the middle of the night, you wake up from the nightmare of separation. And when you wake up from the nightmare of separation, it's like a good story. Wow. There was a lot of activity there that I thought was going on. I was running, I was battling, I was screaming, I was crying, I was worried, I was defending, my heart was racing, I was running, I was dying, I was hating, I was fearing. Bam, you wake up, it's gone. It's gone. The power of love has no limitation. The power of love has no possibility of being limited by a made-up story. No possibility. That is the reverence. That is the awareness of the sacredness of the power of God. That is the humbleness of recognizing that you are this divine creation within that power, and return home. Return home to the power, just with your yes. You are that power. Open to this entire infinite circle of love. See no strangers. See no beloveds that have any differences than you. Embrace the oneness and drop the wanting to see differences. Where you've made differences in the past, surrender them all. Surrender them all. And transformation will unravel everything. There is no limitation. Can any beauty match this? No. Can any beauty match the love that you are and that you carry and that is true of you? Let everything else fall away. And let the love shine. Invite that awareness. Invite that transformation. And you will see that beauty constantly, permanently, inclusively. Heaven. Heaven here. Don't wait. Nothing to wait for. Don't have to leave the body to come home to heaven. You just won't care anymore whether you leave the body. Because it's all the same. Body or no body, heaven is here. And no one is going anywhere. No one leaves. Where would you think you'd go? When here, now, is all that there is. But not in any knowing. Only empty. And yet full.